Today we're going to talk about building relationships in business. Follow your intuition.
I am your host, Lia Dunlap, and you are listening to the Oracle on Purpose podcast, where we help intentional leaders clarify their purpose and next steps to create a work and life of significance.
Have you ever been at a networking event or a mastermind or a conference, and the second you walk in, you start scanning all the other participants in the room to make sure that that one person, you know who, isn't in attendance? Or you do that and suddenly across the room, you catch the eye of the exact person you're trying to avoid. And you feel terrible. It's awkward. It's uncomfortable. Suddenly you're going through scenarios for how to get out of there and how to avoid them from the future. If that's you, I've got a little tip to help you today to understand how to build relationships in business by following your intuition, right? So often we think that, of course, we have to make connections in business, right? We need to make friends. We need to be in the right circles, have the right connections with people that we want to work with or the people that they actually can lead us to working with. And so sometimes we might actually be doing ourselves a disservice by buddying up and building relationships with people that are not aligned with our path or with us, right? They don't match our vibe. And so even if we are in, of course, trying to have a great experience of building connections, which of course right now, that's one of the common things and themes of all networking and business and coaches out there in relation to growing your brand, growing your business, having a bigger mission, having a bigger impact. It's all about connection. But the key is the right connections. And how do you know whether or not a connection is a good connection, a good fit or not? Well, I'm here to let you know that you already have an internal system that will let you know whether it's a fit or not. Chances are it's been speaking to you the whole time. Whether or not you're listening is a different idea altogether. Here's what it looks like. That same person that was coming across the room towards you, they came across the room towards you last time you were at this event. And the second they did, I bet there were some warning bells going off. Something about them, even though you didn't know them, was kind of kicking off in the back of your head going, oh, there's something about that person that I don't like. Oh my gosh, I don't vibe with, I don't respect, but you don't even know who they are yet. Something about who they are being is like broadcasting across the room to you, and it doesn't match. Now, here's the trick. The first time that this happened, you probably pushed it to the back of your head. You said perhaps to yourself, look, I'm here to meet people. You never know who you're going to meet and who they're going to connect you with. You never know where your next contact, your next opportunity is going to come from. And so you start to give yourself excuses for those feelings that you're feeling, right? You start to kind of block them or push them aside. And that's honestly the worst thing you can do. Now, of course, we want to make connections, but it behooves us to make connections that are actually a two-way street. That's a real relationship, right? A relationship is based on give and take. And that give and take is valuable, but it's most effective when the energy of that give and take is supportive of both parties. In other words, the one person isn't becoming what some people call like an energy sucker or a vampire sucker, right? Of just taking and taking and taking. And the other person actually isn't being outdone. You know, they're not actually being pushed out of their own comfort level and feeling like they have to, overgive to stay in that relationship. A good relationship is a little give and take, but mostly energetically, especially, it's synchronicity, right? It's a feeling that that's the right person and you get it inside, not in your head, right? But in the core of who you are, like on a physical level. Sometimes you can even just feel yourself being energized when you're talking to that person. It's like you want to keep talking to them and you want them to talk to you. You want to hear more about who they are and what they're doing. That's a good indicator that this is a good connection, a good relationship to build on. You know, and we've all had those experiences too when we've gone to an event and suddenly it's like you've met your best friend you've never known, your whole life has been missing. And that's a great feeling too. So ask yourself, during those times, what was your intuition telling you then? Here's probably what it sounded like. I'm going to go out on a limb and say these are some of the thoughts that might be racing through your mind at that point. Wow, this person is incredible. Oh my gosh, it's like I've known them my whole life. I just feel good when I'm connecting with them. Just being around them makes me feel better. Especially great if it's going both ways. It's especially great if you're also feeling that way and they're feeling that way too, right? So there's that, and you'll even hear yourself say that. Like, oh my gosh, I feel like I've known you forever. And me too. Like, that's a good conversation starter. Now, here are some of those like signs, signals, if you will, from your intuition that you're on track. Your intuition is energetically tuning in all the time, right? So it's like that radio dial looking for the right signal. And someone else is broadcasting their own signal. Because of course, again, when we're at a networking event especially, we are there to connect. So we are already sending out signals to the people in the room to say, hey, let's connect, let's meet each other, let's find out what we're up to, let's bond, right? We're not actually saying that, but that's what the energy is saying. It's looking for those bondings. So if you allow it to, by stepping into the room and listening first, right? So stop using your eyes as the primary driver. Start tapping into how you feel when you walk in the room. And even better yet, don't even go into the room until you've checked in with how you're feeling about being there, right? So check in with your own energy so that you know if you're on task, right? If you know that you are actually aligned to go and meet the right people for yourself, your clients, your partners, your team, your vision, your mission. Like, there is always something happening in the universe on your behalf. So when you want to build a relationship and a better relationship with your business partners, start with that in mind. How do you know when you're at your best energetically so that you're actually sending out the right signal? And then pay attention when you walk in the room. Take a breath, take a beat. And instead of scanning the room with your eyes, of course, you're going to look around, but instead of starting there as the way to determine which direction to go, ask yourself to feel, even though it might be feel a little different than you're used to, ask yourself to feel into where you need to move next. Let your body kind of lead the way. Then once you've done that, make sure that you're listening to the signals that are coming off of conversations you're having. And this goes beyond just masterminds and networking. Imagine that somebody calls you on the phone and wants to work with you. Take a breath, take a beat. Listen to what's coming across, not only with the words that they're sharing with you, but how you're receiving it. Again, does it feel like you're energized? Does it feel like you're engaged with the conversation? And tap into some areas like your gut. Do you feel unusually uncomfortable? Does there feel like there's something missing? Sometimes the intuition we get is that this isn't a good fit. And we really can't even tap into why. And that's when it matters most. Follow that intuition. The risk of not following that intuition can lead not only to working with the wrong people, but it can also lead to really damaging relationships with people that you could perhaps share connection with from a different perspective. And what do I mean by that? If someone's not a good fit for you as a client, but you really are into connecting, then you can share with someone else who they might be a good fit for, right? That builds your relationship with that original person that you already are connected to. And it helps that person you're passing along to see you as a resource, even if you're not a fit. You can also if you don't pay attention, you can create really toxic relationships. And that is where building positive relationships in business versus building negative relationships in business really kind of comes to the end, or comes to a head. So know for yourself, when you're looking at the people that you're connecting with, what does it feel like to be connected to someone who you know is a fit? And when there is something about someone that is sending off signals inside of you that it is not a good fit, maybe this time your mom wasn't right. And we don't have to be friends with everyone, right? Being connected in business from an intuitive side means knowing what you have to offer, who you are, what you stand for, and what feels energetically aligned or not. And following that guidance can help you to build strong relationships, powerful connections, and to avoid those awkward situations when you step into your next networking or mastermind event. Thanks for watching this video. If you haven't yet, subscribe and ring the bell. And if you want to see more videos like this, click right here.